We began tonight in Broome County, where a group of community members stood in solidarity with the unhoused. I spoke with people outside the Department of Social Services in Binghamton who say their presence is a message for policymakers. A sea of supporters out in full force on Wednesday evening in front of the Department of Social Services office in Binghamton with a unified voice of concern.
Enough is enough. It's time we take a stance against the ongoing injustice. We must demand that our local bureaucrats stop their inhumane treatment of houseless families and change their misguided policies.
Jasmine Stratford is the organizer for this housing justice rally. She's personally experienced the hardships of sleeping on the street due to lack of support from the Department of Social Services.
They kept telling us, we can't help you, you're sanctioned for 30 days. We can't house you for 30 days. Their results was sleep on the street.
Alongside Stratford was Tammy Haley, who was faced with a similar situation, saying she was removed from her home by law enforcement.
Left with my son and his 4 children to walk the streets that night, came down here. They said they didn't have any programs for single fathers. That is a big problem in Broome County.
Both Stratford and Haley have now secured permanent housing, but according to 2023 data from the New York State Comptroller, 676 people in the southern tier are without a place to call home. The women say they will continue to fight for families who are still plagued by this epidemic.
We need affordable housing. We need to be treated like humans. We are people. We are not subject to what our statuses are. People get into hardships. We go through hard times. Things happen. Just like us, you can be next.
There's empty everything everywhere. Anywhere you look, there's something empty. Where's the money going to?
Advocates at the rally agree that there needs to be a new way to approach the housing insecurity issue.
Some kind of proactive change, some kind of attention brought to any type of solution. I myself believe that the city of Binghamton should be reassessing student housing properties and using that extra tax revenue to help fund and create a 365 24/7 shelter.
12 News reached out to the Department of Social Services but has not yet received a response.